Hey guys, welcome back once again to WCS America and our fourth map.
Nice.
Between Crank and Pig. Right now, Pig leads 2-1. He's shown some very powerful Swarm Host play in games 1 and 2, and I gotta say his execution of it has been absolutely phenomenal. Game 3, Crank finally mixed it up, early aggression, and it worked out well. Means he is finally on the board. He's going to have to see if he can pull it off again. This time the map is Frost, a little bit larger of a map, a little bit more difficult to pull off shenanigans like we saw Crank achieve on Heavy Rain. But not impossible. Plenty of places to hide pylons, plenty of ways to set up those kinds of attacks.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Protoss all-ins actually
oh, Crank.
are fine
or Pig, are you going to go 3 hatch before pull?
Yeah, he is. He has to. Well, he doesn't have to, but he hasn't made a spawning pool.
That's a little risky.
On this map, it's super standard, though. It's a 4-player map. It's hard for your opponents to find you right away. Do you really want to start off with a cannon rush? That's a very heavy investment.
Well, we're just going to have such a fast warp gate.
Yes, it's true. But you're also going to have such a fast metabolic boost.
We're also going to have such a late Protoss scout, as Crank has not sent a probe out yet. So if he wanted to have the potential to do something off of one base, he's missing his chance to do that. It looks like, in fact, he is just going to straight up expand with no scout. And that's going to be maybe a little hard for him. He's going to find himself up against a Zerg with a lot of larvae and a lot of bases very quickly in the game.
At this point, just to look at timings based on what we've already seen, this is really standard. Warp Gate will finish around the early 6 minutes, and Metabolic Boost will finish around 6:30 to 7 minutes. So you can see the Metabolic Boost. All you have to do is buy a little bit of time if there are any eventual 4 gates. That's why this build works out so well, is because it's really put together. They know exactly what to do, what units to get, which is just mass Zerglings, and then eventually Queens.
Here's that probe scout making its way across the map. Actually,
where's he going? He's gonna go proxy.
Proxy Stargate, pretty good build.
Oh, and he sees. Oh, that's
that might just be that might just be a very fast gateway attack. 2 more gates being added already.
Yep. And we have seen some variations of actually putting down a pylon and then putting down cannons to always have something to back up to, because that gives you the ability to just back up and say, hey, you want to attack into cannons? Fine. And I always have a warp in point.
Makes it even harder when you're trying to defend with just Zerglings, as would be the case for Pig if he is forced into defending early on right now. Pig going to go ahead and send out his first couple of lings, and actually critically is going to... Oh, maybe he's not going to realize what's up. The Zealot just walked right across to start being annoying. Warp Gate finishing up right now, Andre. How many gateways are there? I think just 3. But 3 gate pressure, actually, no, that's 3 in a forge. 3 gate pressure can still be very effective.
But it shouldn't do anything. There's just too many Zerglings. Metabolic Boost should approach pretty soon here. 1
more warp in. If he goes with like 7, maybe 10 Zealots.
Yeah, it could be effective. It depends if he scouts it out or not.
Oh, he didn't
wow,
see it!
Pig. Oh, wait. Wait. Does he see it? Wow. How unfortunate. That's like the sickest spot ever.
Oh, dear. Now not only are his lings on the wrong side of the map, he's got no idea about this pylon at all, and this is almost certainly
9 drones
going to be a killed hatchery.
Pig, you gotta react. Okay, he saves his queen for now. Those drones are going to be a little bit awkward.
Yeah, that base is definitely going to go down. So, mission accomplished right now for Crank, who on the back of this is continuing to produce probes. Hasn't thrown down any additional tech yet, but he is getting +1. So if he wanted to follow up this gateway attack with a bigger one, he's going to have a lot of power to that punch.
That's right, and he even has recall. So there's so many options right now for Crank. He can continue on with this attack. He can and just recall back. He could just simply walk back and save it for another timing. The world is his oyster, Ben.
The best news here for Pig is that he didn't lose any drones. So while losing that hatchery is a huge bummer. Oh, wow. Speaking of recall. Well, losing that hatchery is a huge bummer. Oh, I like that choice. Perhaps an immortal follow-up. He does manage to at least keep those drones alive, so his saturation on 2 bases is going to be excellent. And he will have this third soon, which is going to be very hard to defend if we have a 2-base push.
True, but if you look at relative income, it's negligible right now. And that's a big problem because it's about 2 minutes that you need before the production of anything really starts to kick in. So if he's attacking relatively soon, do you really have a lot of time for your third base to yield you the minerals and gas that you need to defend this base? And I would probably say no. This attack is going to be coming pretty fast here, and the base needs to pay for itself, not only in the drones that you're going to be spending, but also the hatchery. And you know, I don't know if I think this is great timing for Crank to just hit at third base yet again.
It's going to be a blink all in with
really?
Warp Prism.
Wow.
Now,
that works too.
The choices that Pig are making that I like, he's getting Burrow, he's making roaches. He's stopped droning at about
He's continuing.
62. No, he needs to.
Yeah, he can't
needs
do that.
to stop soon. This is. If he makes one more drone, it's way too many. Maybe he can hang on with this amount if he is immediate and determined with his roach production.
I really think he should be stopping at like 55 to 58. That gives you 3 gas production and optimal saturation everywhere. But right now at 61, you might think it's just, you know, it's just 6 drones, but it does make a large difference in your ability to defend against this stuff.
Once again, Pig can evacuate to this lower expansion if that's what he wants to do. Roaches and Zerglings together, not that effective against +1 Zealots, but they will do enough of a job to repel this attack for the time being. Now we see the Immortal production starting to pick up for Crank as this Warp Prism continues to circle. No, Pig, you cannot be droning right now, man. Oh, wait. Maybe he can be.
It's really peculiar. After killing a third base, you would think that the Protoss will always do a follow-up attack. It looks like he's not doing that at all.
Well, or maybe he's taking this Nexus to mess with Pig, as it's baited another huge round of drones. Pig goes up to 72 drones right now. But I am actually feeling like maybe Crank does seriously want this base. He's putting the cannon down. And committed to defending it.
Attack going in on the main base. I love the constant coverage with the hallucinated phoenixes that are always checking to see what's going on. Is this going to just be used as a combination attack in conjunction with the main army? That's what we really have to ask.
Warp Prism could go here and warp in on the low ground and attack on the high ground if it wanted to.
Oh man, Tunneling Claw being used yet again. I'm starting to think Tunneling Claw is the ultimate answer in this early stage.
I like it a lot. Many Zerg players are of the opinion that it comes too late. It's going to come after Roach Speed.
That's why you do the Mr. Bitter double Roach Warren.
I do the Mr. Bitter double Roach Warren.
Well, I'm not saying you. I'm saying the proverbial you.
Everybody should do the Mr. Bitter double Roach Warren.
Everybody do the Mr. Bitter double Roach Warren.
Spire's gone down right now for Pig as we see Crank coming into the main base. He might actually shut this Spire right down, as like Pig's being very slow to react to this.
Pig actually being aggressive. All of his units out in the middle of the map, moving on over into the third base. Not sure that's going to go too well. Spire gets taken out. And how does he actually do this? Are we going to see a base trade? I think a base trade would be much better. Kill the third bases.
Interesting development. Pig's going to split up his units, and I think he's got 2 very formidable attacks coming forward.
Me too. Wow, this
Crank
is scary.
has 1 brutal attack materializing in the 3rd expansion of our Zerg player. Of course, immediately shuts that down. The question, does he recall or does he push on?
He's recalling. He recalls back into the natural base, and this is awkward. But he can...
Burrow. He brought the observer back.
Yeah.
But a few of those roaches do manage to sneak away, and I think this Nexus is still going to go down.
Man, Pig somehow climbing back in. Look, he's at 190 supply.
I am loving the play that we're seeing out of Pig today, and this time it's not the Swarm Host Turtle that is so prone to be disliked by people. We do see Crank deciding to follow this up with the old Dark Shrine. Definitely a great way back in this game.
Yes.
As we see that Pig has foregone all detection this time around.
I just love the relentlessness of constantly expanding, finding that room, and causing your opponent to make mistakes. You know, Crank is trying to play this kind of finesse-like, and Pig is just bulldozing over his opponent.
Yeah. Pig, in the midst of all of this aggression, being a little bit too sloppy with his defense of this expansion. Lost a lot of drones here, 21 drone kills in total.
But he still has that bottom right expansion that, how did it sneak up? You couldn't even...
Seriously, I didn't even see him take this base.
That's what I'm saying. He's just bulldozing his opponent. Right now, if there's any switches, look at how much gas there is. 1,500 gas. He's just asking to go into a base race at that end game situation. And Crank is overestimating his advantage. He thinks, oh, well, it's just 3 base. I don't have to worry. No, it's 4 base. It's 8 gas. That's scary. I'm scared, Ben. I'm scared.
And justifiably so. Crank, in the meantime, has managed to reestablish a bit of that supply. He's at 160 supply against 170 supply, but what is kind of problematic here is this incoming Spire. All this banked money, all this free supply, you have to suspect a giant Muta switch.
I would think so.
With more than enough money to make 20 Mutas in one go.
Yep. 8 gas.
Oh, this is a scary Protoss army, though.
Yeah, I think a lot of spine crawlers need to go up ASAP, and he's gonna try to keep doing this counterattacking strategy. And there it is. Spire is gonna finish, and whoa, 17 meters, maxes out, and he's gonna go for this base race. Makes so much sense, and just spine up. That's all he needs to do. Even makes another Spire. Very intelligent play coming out of our Australian player.
Now, well, so many facets to this unfolding right now. First of all, Crank wants to preserve some probes if he can. The same is said, of course, for Pig. Oh, don't lose Mutas. That would suck. 1 Muta down. 2 of them will not fall. These drones need to be burrowing right now. Things like spore crawlers are going to be critical. If this observer waddles over a spore crawler, this is going to get much more difficult for Crank. Warp Prism here in the main base is going to be shut down. That's an important pickoff for those Mutalisks. Burrow your drones, Pig! You're going to need to keep these drones alive.
Dark
Great
Templars.
Use of the burrow, but the Dark Templars is also another brilliant choice here from Crank. Defensive DTs, very good at shutting down anything on the ground. So Crank starting to put together the beginnings of a brilliant defense. New Spire not quite done yet. 30 Lings is an interesting choice and one that I'm not sure that I agree with. One more hatch is going to fall, and there have been no spine crawlers. Instead, it's just going to be a frantic race.
Yeah. I thought Pig was actually in a winning position at one point, but you know, not reacting. He had 3K. He still has 2K in the bank and 1K gas. That's a lot of spine crawlers he could have made, and yes, he should be burrowing a lot of his units as well, getting ready for that last attack. All you want is one big attack and to kill those stalkers. And how do you do that? You get some roaches in there, you get mutas, as many mutas as possible, and you go for that big attack.
He really wants to kill this Nexus. He's not actually focused on Nexus. He wants to get probes first, which is another good choice. Those probes are going to all fall. Total probe count on the map right now, 22, and they are mostly here in the main base. In fact,
19 mutas to 22 stalkers as well.
Here in the main base.
There's 27 Zerglings, 8 roaches. This might be enough. Oh man, he has to keep all of his stalkers alive as best as possible.
And he's going to lose 3 more here. That's going to be a bit painful. And actually, Zergling Roach is going to be pretty effective against this little fight. I think at least 1 Immortal should fall.
Oh, no, 0 Immortals fall. Great reaction force fields. There's just too much
there. Of course, even better against this army composition.
We'll find out. This is a very scary situation for Pig, if I do say so. Guardian Shield, exceptional.
Cannot lose Mutas.
And that's it.
And it is going to lose more than just a small handful.
I can't picture a way for Crank to lose this right now. I guess just losing all of his structures, but there are not enough.
Man, Crank actually salvaged this. That's pretty impressive. As the Muta count right now not scary enough to force a real race.
Yep.
The choice to defend was maybe the wrong one.
And even looking at the units tab, we have 3 Overseers. Okay, so he has some response to those Dark Templars that will be shuffling around the map, but the Dark Templars will be able to scout everything whilst this is going on. And we're gonna see. Oh wow!
So the Roach is gonna get cleaned up. Muta's gonna go and try and find openings, but the simple fact is that it's just a matter of time before Crank hunts down the last of these bases. The Stalkers are more than enough to deal with the Mutalisks, and this is going to go to Game 5, Andre.
I'm very impressed with Pig, though. Like, this is a great...
Yeah.
How did he come back? I really felt like he was bulldozing over Crank. A Crank of all people, you know?
You know, I think the real mistakes here that Pig made, I feel like this was his game to lose at a point, and I think the real mistakes were never spining up, never preserving any of his drones. Had he, for instance, he had more than enough money to put 20 spines right here.
I agree. 20 spines would have been glorious.
That would have been nigh impossible to break with what Crank has.
Yeah.
Blink but damned, you know. Instead, we are going to be going on to game number 5, I fear. 47 supply against 110. This one is becoming inevitable. DTs will find the last hatchery. Not the last hatchery, but essentially the last hatchery.
Yeah. 19 meters just cannot cope with this. Even an Archon being merged, his 4 Dark Templars can become 2 more Archons. There's no way to confront that many units.
Nope.
And well, it's just a waiting game now, all formality.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pig, he knows. Well, he's figuring out right now.
He wants to believe that there's a way for him to win this one. But every time he engages this Protoss player, he loses another handful of Mutalisks. And obviously that's not something that he can keep up. So just a matter of time now.
Do you know what would have been great on this for Pig? You forgot to mention it.
Nidus.
Yeah, baby.
Mutanitis.
Mutanitis.
And that's not being facetious. I swear I think Mutanitis is really good because when you see the base race coming, you load up all your drones, and now you can take all of your drones anywhere on the map.
You don't have to burrow them and hope he doesn't have an observer.
You don't go Mutanitis when you don't have money to spare, but when you have got 4K, 2K, after building 20 mutas.
If you're going into base race mode, there's no reason to drop 4 Niduses all across the map for no reason.
Every Nidus exit counts as a building.
That's right. And it even provides its own creep. So guess what you could place on those?
Spine crawlers. You'd have had a creep exit right here and 30 spine crawlers.
Look at that. Who cares? You have vision on me? Great. And then 1 Dark Templar comes in.
Did this just get scouted? I think it did. Yep. And the beginning of the end as we see the Protoss army converging on this last location. Mutas just being chased by the Blink Stalkers while the things that can't shoot up, well, most of that actually can't shoot up, but all the remainder is going to head up to this hatchery. The last base, Pig with 8 minerals and no hope is going to have no choice but to tap out. Good game! Crank ties it up. The score now 2-2 in this, our 5th best of 5 of the day. That's right, we got one more match. It's going to be Suppy versus Massa. Damn it. I'm sorry,
You're
Massa.
awful.
Before we can do that, we got to have game 5, Crank versus Pig. Guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.